Leo, this is good afternoon from.
We're just going to start.
Okay, you tell me.
Okay, and we are live, and welcome to a live episode of the Homeopathy Health Show, streaming live to YouTube. And I'm delighted to welcome the eminent homeopath and a dear friend of mine, Dr. Subrata Banerjea, and he is the principal of the Allen College of Homeopathy in the UK. And today we're also joined by Dr. Saptarshi Banerjea from India. And the objective for today is very much to talk about something called the Calcutta program. And it really is something very fascinating, but also is a really is a true service to humanity because of the education and the knowledge that is going to be imparted, equipping other homeopaths, other doctors, other people to be able to learn in such a way that they can then, who knows, help thousands and thousands of people later on. So without further ado, I introduce Dr. Subrata Banerjea, and if you'd like to say a few words.
Good afternoon from Chelmsford in the United Kingdom. This is Subrata Banerjea from Allen College of Homeopathy. I have been requested to talk about our Calcutta clinical training program that we organize every year in January, February. This year it is in February. I'm running this program for a very long time. The first program took place in 1986. So it's almost coming up to 40 years uninterrupted. 1 year, I have to say, 1 year it was interrupted during the COVID, that was 2021. Other than that, we are running consistently this program. Our first students are some of the renowned homeopaths from the UK, Linda. At that time, it was Linda Kulig or Linda Shannon, perhaps you know, Francis Stroherge. They were all my students in Calcutta in the very first batch. Linda Weeks, she ran a college in the western part of the UK. So, Calcutta program has an unique aspect. We show live cases. It is non-edited, so the patient will come in front of you and you will be asking questions that how you are. And these patients, I'm not talking about a constipation or diarrhea or cold. I mean, obviously, we show some acute cases, but I'm more talking about advanced pathological conditions as well, and what simple homeopathy can do. And why I'm saying simple homeopathy? Because we follow the consistent Hahnemannian Kentian method, the method of combining miasm with the totality, essence, and keynote. The simple way and time-tested, century-old way, and that still works in this drug-dependent world. And we show those cases and develop the confidence. I'm doing this for the last 40 years. Saptarshi is the fifth generation homeopath, my son, and Saptarshi joined being trained in BHMS, which is a 5-year degree program in India. And after that, he has also done a 3-year postgraduate MD in homeopathy and joined to support me from 2012. And we are carrying it on. It's, as I said, is running almost 40 years and has a consistent reputation for its unique practical experience, where simple, traditional, time-tested, and non-confusing approach to prescribing, including miasms and totality, with sound knowledge in mathematica. We call Calcutta is the Mecca of mathematica teaching. We do not look at the repertoire. You will see in these 125 cases, maximum 4 or 5 cases, we might open few rubrics, otherwise not. So the knowledge of mathematica, the knowledge, what Kent said, through his extemporaneous lectures in the Kent's lectures, that we bring it live to you. We develop your confidence in mathematica, confidence in homeopathy, that homeopathy can work. Simple classical teaching, as I said, it guarantees confidence in mathematica. And one of the important aspects which Saptarshi does more is the comparative mathematica. So what we say we arrive at pulsatilla for a patient, And we will say, Saptarshi will say, I will say, throw me any medicine, I will compare with my pulsatilla and throw it back to you. So we will compare, instant comparison of medicines, and that's important. And this is absolutely a practical teaching. There are a few theoretical aspects to show that the miasmatic approach, because I wrote a book on miasmatic prescribing. So I always combine the miasmatic approach with the totality. And I believe the miasm is 50% of the case, and the totality, essence and keynotes, are the 50%. I call M-Tech. Over to you, Saptarshi.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, Dr. Saptarshi. So you are a well-renowned homeopath, of course, in your own right, and it's really nice to connect with you here today live. So it's so important, isn't it, nowadays, to have this practical demonstration so that people can become equipped, because what you can learn physically from other people and in a certain teaching environment is so much more lasting. That practical knowledge is so important moving forward, rather than just looking at the books. Of course, the books are there, we know that, but as from a foundation perspective, certainly. But practical experience is practical experience, right? Clinical training is clinical.
One of the things which I have learned and which I believe is true, that you have to understand that what the patient is saying, and you have to interpret that in the symptoms of the Metromedica. My granddad used to say there's always a difference between the cup and the lip. Like, the symptoms of the Metromedica are mentioned in one way, and what the patient says or how he's expressing it, you have to analyze and acknowledge that, bridge that gap between the symptoms of the book and what the patient is saying. And seeing patients live, it will help to understand as well, that this is the language of the Metromedica. This is what the patient will tell you in their own language. B, I also believe that when you see cases and when you see pathologies, it will give you that confidence that, yes, homeopathy is helping in such a case. You may not always find that, when you go back to your homes, to your cities, you may not always find that case, but yes, homeopathy has helped. And our motto is, if we can do it, you can do it as well. So it's nothing to hide. It's simple classical prescribing. So, and with the patients, it's always much helpful to see, especially the deep pathologies as well.
No, absolutely. And what are people to expect in this training course? It's a 10-day intensive course, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. One of the interesting aspects about the course is, although we are running it in the city, in the urban area, we get lots of patients from the rural areas as well, with lots of pathologies. So you'll get to see lots of pathologies in the emotional plane, in the physical plane, A. B, in the urban population, there are a lot of drug-dependent cases, patients who are dependent on conventional medication, asthma patient on inhalers, osteoarthritis patient on steroids. And we'll show, we have done it in the past, like how we can gradually withdraw the conventional medicine with the help of homeopathic organopathics, like introducing Ramnus for a case of osteoarthritis, introducing Verbena for a case of depression, and then gradually introduce the patient to the polycrest. And that is a common problem throughout the world, where the patients are dependent on conventional medicine. So they get to a taste of that as well. And we also run a slum clinic, which that has been running since the 80s, where we do rapid classical prescribing. It's almost 60 patients within a period of 3 hours. Time is limited, but we still do classical prescribing. And there the emphasis is on many times look and diagnose how the skin looks like, how the patient, appearances. So you get a taste of these areas as well, which is also, varieties, but again, dependent on the Metromedica.
I absolutely love this about the live clinics, because of course, I know people around the world, especially in parts of Africa, are doing similar things. And it's so important, because you really are serving humanity, but at the same time, you're also able to train others to then follow on and do their own service to humanity. It's, all greatest respect to you. I think it's brilliant that you're doing this, and may it long continue. It's so important. It's the best of both worlds, isn't it? Because you're training others, but at the same time, you're helping people. And that's great.
So that's all. Yeah, go on.
Please.
No, you go on.
One of the things which is also important, I feel, especially for Western participants who are coming in, they see cases where we are dealing with symptoms, we're doing the comparative metromedica without using the repertory. And many times they see, like in the slum clinic, that people, we ask them, what are your desires, what are your dreams? And they will tell you, no, I pull a rickshaw and I eat roti and dal every day. So, you cannot get, or you cannot throttle the patient for non-existent mental symptoms or non-existent dreams and delusions. So you prescribe on what is the patient is saying. I have knee pain, or you prescribe on the cough, and the patient is doing better. And that's how homeopathy is surviving here as well. So that's also important to see that as well.
I love that. I honestly do, because I was just offline before we went live. I was sharing Dr. Subrata Banerjea that, about some things we have in common, and I love what you've just said, because it's real prescribing. You're not wasting time. You're actually being very practical, very reasoned, logical, sensible, that, look, this is the presenting complaint. This is what needs to be treated. And where it's not, you're actually looking deeper into the core. Well, maybe there's some layers there. There is the miasmatic influence. But it's not time wasted. It's time very, very, what's the word? Effectively used, isn't it, Dr. Subrata Banerjea? What do you think? It's so good, isn't it, to do it this way?
It says that's the way it has to be done. Calcutta, perhaps is the Mecca of homeopathy in India. Though, some people think Mumbai is that, but still Calcutta is Calcutta. Calcutta is the Mecca. The reason why I'm saying Dr. Jugal Kishore, who wrote a famous card repertory, who was the physician to the President of India in Delhi, he was taught in Calcutta. There are many pioneers who had been taught in Calcutta. So Calcutta is known for Metromedica teaching. N.M. Chaudhary, B.K. Bose, they're the direct disciples of Kent. And they bring, or at that time, they brought that heritage to Calcutta. So we are proud of that heritage, the heritage of dependence on Metromedica. And it is not just words we show through cases. And the live cases in front of you, we don't edit that through video, let us cut that and, show only this. And nothing, patient is in front of you. And every single word is translated. So we are running this for 40 years. We know how to do it. And every single participant who have attended the program have returned many times as well. Like this year, we have 2 returning students coming back, and we get students mainly from the Western Europe and America. But, from Australia, we also got students. So, it's just going on, and the heritage will carry on like this.
I mean, I think it's a fact now that there are over 300,000 registered homeopathic doctors. This includes practitioners, physicians, MDs, in India alone. And I think the intake in college is over 20,000 a year approximately, give and take, which is huge. I mean, that's an incredible amount, people going into this field, and may it exponentially increase, to hundreds of thousands, I hope so. But I wanted to ask you, Saptarshi, that over the years, how many people must you have helped and treated then in these clinics? It must be tens of thousands, right?
We have at least about 60 to 70 patients, which I see in a day. So it's around 40 in the morning clinics, 20, 25 in the evening. So, you sit in the morning at 9 o'clock, it continues up to 8. And, the system of appointments is non-existent many times in Calcutta, because people travel from different parts. They've heard, our names, and they have come, and without appointments, they have to see them, because, they are sick, and they are, we need to give them our best support, which we can. And, that's a factor.
Now, for those listening in, something very important, you may have guessed actually by the surnames, but Dr. Saptarshi Banerjea is Dr. Subrata Banerjea's son. So now you know. So, they're they're the dynamic duo, and I think they're doing an incredible service to humanity. And what to expect, and how do people get in touch with yourselves if they're interested to attend or want to know more? What's the process?
If you go to our website, which is Allen College, ALLEN College, Allen College, one word, .co.uk, All the details are there, and our email address is info@allencollege.co.uk. Send us an email. We will send you the details. And once again, the main aspect are the three aspects. A, develop your confidence in homeopathy. Yes, homeopathy can do it. And if we can do it, you can do it. There is nothing hide. There is no dream business or delusions we teach. We teach real practical homeopathy in front of the patient. Number one. Number two, it is a drug dependent world. It is very difficult to survive. I have, with your good wishes, I have a very busy practice in the UK, and those are from the Western world. It is so difficult in the UK to develop a homeopathic practice. And one of my main reason of success is patient comes to us, they are dissatisfied, and especially with the conventional chemicals. And with the Saptarshi mentioned about verbena, Saptarshi mentioned about ramnas, like that we will share with you lots of century-old medicines. They are all there in body care, have not been used. Like if you look at verbena, if you look at tanacetum, we use that for depression, and gradually wean antidepressant with the consent of the patient. And that's the main reason of developing your practice successfully. That's the way you can do it, and we share that. And the third thing is, which is important as well, you learn how to use miasm in practical way. We dissect the miasm in every case. And so this is the miasm. This is psychosoric miasm on the surface, and then what medicine should come. And so you will hear mostly miasmatic aspect of prescribing from me and comparative mathematica from Saptarshi, and we will do our best to make homeopathy live in front of you. Thank you.
I've just had a thought. If when these clinics start, so you're there from January, is that right?
In February.
February, sorry. So in February,
yeah.
let's do if it's possible and you have time. I know this is going out live, but hey, the best ideas sometimes come when you're on air, right? For me, anyway. Why don't we do a live from the clinic? Let's do a live where we can see both of you. People can see you and see what you're up to and how it's getting along. I think that would be very
Keep that
nice
in mind, and we will try to organize that. The only problem is we have a slum clinic. That's the best clinic, because it is, Saptarshi said, 60 patients in 3 hours. We have to do it. But it's difficult to connect from there. But if we can, we will try to do it. Saptarshi will evaluate, and I'll come back to you, I think. No problem.
Let's all have the best intention, and God willing, it will work. I know it will.
Sure.
We'll get the right signals, So in closing, Dr. Saptarshi, if you'd like to add anything about the upcoming clinic Calcutta program.
One of the things which I also feel students have mentioned over the years, when they finish the course, that we share with you the failures as well. It's can get successful cases. We have lots of successes, but I make it a point to have at least one case where I didn't succeed or I had a major setback, and how you can learn from that and evolve. And that's also important, to that, because failures are your pillars of success. So we'll be sharing that as well. Difficult cases, blocked cases, how you can come up with a solution in those cases as well.
That's why I love this so much, because it's real. It's so real, and that's the best way to learn. What you've said is so important for those who will listen back to this, especially the students. You have to share the failures. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's just the way. It's actually, you can make good of everything. And it's all a learning curve. As homeopaths, we learn. There's so much I learned, so much I've learned today. There's not a person I speak to, whoever they may be, that one does not learn from, right? There's always something you pick up. So I love your approach, and I wish you the best of luck. And in fact, I'm very much looking forward to talking to you in February live from those clinics, to give people around the world the real example of what it's like. They can physically see it happen. And I think you're doing commendable work. I have the greatest respect for Dr. Subrata Banerjea. He's a legend, living legend, absolutely brilliant, So thank you to both of you for giving up your time. I know you've had Dr. Saptarshi. I know you've had Saptarshi. You've had a very busy day today, but you still made time. So I'm very grateful to you as well for this.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us. And once again, the glory doesn't go to us. The glory goes to Hanuman and his beautiful homeopathy. So those who are interested, visit our website, allencollege.co.uk. Long live Hanuman, long live